Good day. Welcome to A Strange House and Other Oddities. This is Oblivion Cubed, and we are currently going to play through the module A Strange House and Other Oddities by the good folks at the Crumbling Keep. I am doing this solo using a combination of Knave and Lonely Knave, with a bit of supplement using the solo gaming sheets. So Knave is by Ben Milton. It's a fantasy RPG with a classless system. So you're based off of your characters are an amalgamation of their stats and their tools, basically. A Lonely Knave is an oracle system, so that we can help randomize this, being as we're playing it solo. This is by Parts Per Million. You can find it on itch.io. Maybe not itch.io. You can find this by going to DriveThruRPG. Sorry. It is the next one that I am thinking of that you can find on itch.io. This is Solo Gaming Sheets by the ever wonderful Perplexing Ruins. He makes some fantastic solo-centered content and some really fun games of his own. He's made things like Fallen and so forth. Parts Per Million as well has made a number of good solo games. So like definitely check these two out. Ben Milton, of course, did Knave. This is a very simple, straightforward 21-page RPG. He has kickstarted Knave 2, the second edition. It's a little bulkier. I have it, but we're not going to be using it for this because it's just a little. There's a little bit more to it. There's a lot more pages than I don't want to flip through in Tabletop Simulator. um, so anyway, getting right into it, we are going to try and tackle the Strange House, which is technically built for old school essentials. Most sort of OSR style games I've found can be pretty easily swapped between various rule sets, right? There's Knave, there's White Box. You can kind of pick your toolkit. I'm slightly more familiar with Knave, and I have a absolute love for the short bit of rules in here. It's very soloable, so that's why we're using this. There will be a little bit of uh, not conversion per se, but we may simplify some of the monsters if we come across any in here. Now, of course, for this, we need a few characters to begin with. Now, Knave, if you haven't played it before, is set up in such a way that you basically go with the old school roll a bunch of 3d6s, and you pick whatever the lowest one is for your first stat, right? And then you just go down the line. So got a 3, got a 2, a 1. Oops. That's going to drive me crazy. Get off of there, guys. I don't usually do this kind of stuff in Tabletop Simulator, and this is a very good reason why I find this system not the very best. The heck? Yeah, now it's like stuck together. I don't want you to be stuck together. Good gracious. We'll make that not drag selectable. And let's flip this around. Drop that. Okay. Good gracious. Technical difficulties, right? Take these guys, move them back over there. And let's move this out of the way for right now. Now these we need to make drag selectable again. Good God. Okay, with that fumbling out of the way, what do we get for this one? So we have 4 is our lowest. That's pretty good. So that's very wonderfully wizard-like intelligence there. What am I trying to say? That's what I'm trying to say. And so our lowest is a 1. Okay, that's lovely. Okay. I'm not going to count that. And lowest is a 1 again. All right, so the way that this works is, of course, in Knave, there's actually 2 important stats associated with strength and dex, your normal spread, right? There's your bonus, and then there's your defense. And your defense is 10 above whatever your bonus is currently, right? That comes into that's important when it comes to like your con, right? Like your constitution, because whatever your bonus is, or sorry, whatever your defense is going to tell you how many slots you have available to you to carry items, right? So this guy's got 1, which means that they can have a maximum of 11 slots. These are stacks of 5, right? So this is that's the last slot that we can get, right? These ones are all blank. They're all reserved, I guess. You can't do anything with them. And so with that, our speed, our speed is 120 or 40. So yeah, and again, this is not the greatest. It's not the greatest character sheet. I'm not a big fan of this. I like the art on it. That's very, very cool. Not the greatest for usability. That's okay though. We're gonna make it work. So it's 120 or 40. That's just the default that is sort of just set, right? 40 is in combat. 120 is when you're exploring. I don't know that we're actually going to pay too much attention to either of those, but it's nice to have them. Portrait, of course, we're not going to do anything with. Our hit points are 1d8 plus whatever our constitution is. So let's pop back up here. Let's grab a d8. That's this bad boy. So 4. Oof. That's going to be rough. So our max right now is 4. And then with that selected, what we would normally do now is basically pick the rest of our stuff, right? So this kind of explains, 3d6 lowest of the 3d6. We start with 2 rations, right? So let's put this all in caps lock. So ration and a ration, and we have a weapon of our choice and some starting gear, and we are going to want to roll to determine some stuff about our characters. Yeah, that's where it's talking about Constitution right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go through here and we're going to roll up some information about our traits and so forth, right? So we got a 1, so we're athletic. All right, so that's handy. And why don't we bring this over here, perhaps? Okay, so we're athletic. We are, that was a 4. So our face is chiseled. Chiseled face. Our skin is, that's 5. So we got makeup. Makeup on our skin. I don't know. Right, 17 is our hair, so we've got silky hair. That's not what I meant to press. Silky hair. And antique clothing. Right, so I'm gonna guess that that's that means we're wearing something kind of dated and out of style, or something like that. So our virtue is that we are focused. Now this notes is gonna fill up. This is another, like, try not to complain too much about this character sheet because it's what somebody very painstakingly used Lua or whatever tabletop simulator uses to create. But there is a character sheet that I vastly prefer. There's actually a couple that I really like, that you can find online. The default one is also very good. But I think that I've got one from the folks who make, I'm gonna probably butcher this pronunciation, but Crony Gron. It's another solo RPG. It's very good. We'll cover it on the channel eventually. But it's a much better character sheet than this one. Anyway, getting back onto it. Our vice is that we are bitter. Ah, okay. So we are focused, but we are bitter. That's a little cocked. I can't tell if that's a 5 or a 20. That's 1, so we're blunt. Right, our background. Now this is going to tell us this is going to help us to inform what kind of weapon we might want. So 17 is a pickpocket. Ah, pickpocket background. Our misfortune. Now this is kind of fun because we always start with some sort of misfortune. That's a 15. So we were poor. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense for a pickpocket, right? So poor is our misfortune. And last but not least for this, we want to roll for our alignment. Now, of course, you could pick this if you wanted to. 18, that's chaotic. I know this because I just did this. Solo. Now, again, yeah, this sheet doesn't have anything for that, which I don't love. But there are much better ones that do. This one looks really cool. I think it would be better for other games, just not this one. Yeah, okay, so that's our first guy almost made. Now there's a few other things that we need to need to pick and get. So first of all, let's take a look at what kind of weapons we have. That's these right here, right? So we've got D6s, D8s, D10s, a D4, a D6, a D8, and then some supplementary stuff, right? So the D6s are going to be any daggers, clutches, staffs, that kind of stuff. There's some wiggle room, I guess you could say, with this, right? With what kind of weapons um, each category falls, or what kind of type of weapons these fall into. For us, we were a pickpocket, right? We're poor. We are athletic and so forth, but we are. I don't get the feeling that this dude is like super well off, so I'm gonna pick a cudgel, maybe. Let's go with that for our weapon. So let's actually put that in. You know what? Let's get rid of these in here. Let's cudgel. That's how I spell cudgel, right? I'm not crazy. Yeah, and that's a D6, 3 quality. D6 Q3, and so we're gonna need a couple more spaces. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick the rations over here in our last 2 spots. Okay, so with our main weapon chosen for him, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back a page to our starting gear. This is another one that's sort of important. Let's find out what we have. That was not a good roll. Sorry. So 7. That means we've got a gambeson. Okay. Cool. Clicking that. I'm not used to this. I much prefer playing these solo games on my table, right? Anyway, armor. We've chosen that. Helmet and shield. Let's see. It's another 7. Okay, none. So there's no helmet. That's okay. And now we roll twice on this table. Oh yeah, it says right there. So 20. We have 5 torches. In general, you can hold 5 pounds of stuff in each slot, right? So 5 torches. If you assume that a torch is a pound each, that kind of makes sense for it to be in one slot. And is that a 1? Yes, that's a 1. So we have 5 torches and 50 feet of rope. 50 feet. Okay, not bad. Now let's roll on the general gear. So that is a 9. And that means that we have a chisel. And then we're going to roll on general gear 2. That is a 13, a card deck. All right, so some of this stuff, it's hard to kind of understand exactly what we're going to use it for immediately. But we will definitely get to that. I don't believe we start with any starting gold in Knave. I think you kind of just get what you get. And as my 5-year-old would say, you get what you get and you like it. So we're going to take a quick look here at the armor. So our gambeson, this is sort of important, these slots, right? Right here, you see? Gambeson is 1 slot, defense of 12. That's great. Okay, so we're going to put that in our armor. So you're not going to let me write in there? No, of course. Cool. I'll just click that up then. That's super fun. So that's 1 slot. Our cudgel is also definitely 1 slot, right? Yeah, 1 slot. You'll see that some things are 2 slots or 3 slots, right? And that just means that they take up 2 or 3 slots on your character sheet, which means that you, of course, can't hold a whole lot else. So we have right now 3 blank slots for anything that we happen to pick up as we are adventuring. After that, this goes into actually like playing the game. So this whole kind of start area is just getting our characters set up. So let's. I'm trying to think. I'm friends with James and Brad, who made a strange house, and I was speaking with James the other day and asked him, kind of on the side, how many characters he thought that he designed a strange house for, and he said, I didn't pick a number. He said you could probably get away with 4 level 1s. That's probably fine, as long as you don't try to fight too much. And I'm gonna let the dice decide whether or not we try to fight people. So we're probably going to die. Knave has a pretty good chance of dying to begin with. But I do see that it took like 20 minutes to roll up 1 character because we were, doing it piece by piece. What should we call this guy? So this is a pickpocket burglar. Let's call him. Let's call him Blacktooth. That seems reasonable. What I might do here is I might pause the recording and complete these next 3 people because I feel like we might need 3 knaves to tackle a strange house. I mean, I don't know. I've never tried it. I've never played it. I've barely even read it, to be completely honest. So yeah, let's do that. I will be back with you in just a few minutes here once I've completed rolling these folks up. Okay, and we are back. So we have completed our various knaves. Of course, with Blacktooth being our first one. Our second is Brick, who is a little bit stronger in that they have a helmet. Helmet has +1 to whatever your base defense is. Gambesons are 12, right? So they also have a lot more hit points. They rolled really high on their D8, and then they had a +3 to con. Right? So if your Constitution is high, it's quite easy um, to get better health, right? PC's healing rate. Oh, you know what? I am not supposed to add Constitution to that. Oh, that's my bad. Okay, it's a good thing I reread that. So we'll just go back and fix that. So a bunch of these guys are going to be real easy to kill, right? This is one of the fun things about Knave, right? Is it very much sticks to the old style of, you know, life is cheap. There is always going to be somebody else to dive into these dungeons. So with our 4 people, something to note is our first guy is a pickpocket, right? Our second guy is a smuggler, guy, gal, whatever. I mean, I didn't check for what. Oh man, I messed that up somehow. Anyway, this guy's a smuggler. This guy is a pickpocket, and this one is a charlatan, right? So I'm getting the vibe that these people are perhaps either a gang of folks um, that are like thieves or something, right? Or maybe they are, escaped convicts or something. We will definitely play with that concept a little bit more as we go, because it's kind of fun to give these guys a personality, right? So the vast majority of the rest of this isn't super um, super important, right? Like this guy um, is suspected of probably a crime, right? Of pickpocketing, right? I rolled randomly for the names, not in Knave. Unfortunately, Knave doesn't have a name generator as part of it. Sorry about that. They don't have a name generator, so I just grabbed a nickname generator from someplace online. You can name them whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. They're probably not going to live that long. So with that said, I think we're set up here. We're going to jump into this in such a way that we're going to start basically right at the courtyard of this particular module. And normally what I would do is I would have, my hex grid, and I would draw, I would start them sort of outside the objective in a town or something. But we're not going to do that for this. Again, this is the solo. Let me just look at what it is exactly called. Solo gaming sheet. It's a 2-page oracle that is one of the best oracles that you can find for old school solo gaming, or really any solo gaming. It's super useful. Definitely check it out. Perplexing Ruins. I will add a link somewhere. But yeah, as I was saying, normally I would have a hex sort of away from the objective, and we would adventure to find it. Right, we would use our exploration to get to this. But I think it actually fits the vibe of the module to just kind of pop right into it, right? Especially that we're like maybe escaped convicts or something. We're a group that I I think these people maybe know each other, right? But they don't. They maybe don't know how they got here. So let's kind of get closer here and read. This is a Kickstarter, of course. I backed this. I back everything that a Crumbling Keep makes, and you should too. They're wonderful people. So let's jump in. So, in the middle of a deep, dark forest along a babbling stream, we come upon a wide and long field. It's extremely overgrown and has become a mix of bolted plants and dead, dry, decaying foliage. Despite this, there is somehow a completely clear, straight path through it, untouched by the growth on either side. At the end of it is a tall, warped house standing by a single tree. Each of our characters catches a different scent in the air that reminds them of a specific memory of their childhood. To take a break here, as we pause in reading, this would be a great time if I was journaling this, right? If I was doing this for more than just this tabletop session here, I would make a random roll to see kind of what scent they picked up, or I would just like randomly think about one and just assign it. There's a whole bunch of different things that you could do to just kind of like add that flavor, right? If you were running this as a game master at a table, this would be a great time to kind of like ask each character what they smell, right? It's just that one little thing that kind of um, adds to the game, right? Adds to the realism of it. As they walk, they spot a small bird following them, hopping from branch to branch. It'll keep its distance so as not to respond to any calls unless a character offers it some sort of food. If that happens, it has much to say. Oh, you know what? That reminds me. I forgot to add rations to everybody else's card. Oops. Because each character starts with 2 rations. Perfect. Okay. So this kind of stuff, right? Because we're playing the solo we are both the game master and the audience. We're the player and the keeper, the game master, the dungeon master, whatever. So whenever we see something like this, where it's like it, if we offer them food, right, we could either just arbitrarily decide, no, this is not within the character of any of these people, right? This person's lawful. Like, if anybody is going to offer a bird some food, maybe the addict might, but this guy's an addict, right? So I don't know if they're. It's not to say addicts can't be kind, right? They can, but in the context of somebody coming to this random weird place, I don't know that they're going to really feed the bird, right? So this is a chance where we could refer to our oracle, right? Now there's two different oracles here. This is a closed question. This is a very, very simple no and, no but, no, with a additional section for shakeup. Um, that spread is wrong, I think. The chances of getting these two are slightly higher than the chance of getting these two. This should be 12 to 15, and this should be 16 to 19. Anyway, that not important. The closed questions is one that we could ask, or we could look at this other oracle, and we could look at, where is it? Right, the same thing. This is the same very, very basic oracle spread, right? Except this is using a D6 and it ignores the shakeup, and this is using a D20 and includes it. Now, I don't think I'm going to ask myself a question for this bird, right? As to whether or not I don't think I'm going to ask myself the style of question that's going to require a shakeup. So let's just do a green dice. We'll say, do any of our knaves offer this bird anything? Right? Oh, yes, and okay. So we don't really have a lot to give away, but yeah, you know what? Sure. So which of our knaves is going to do that? We're going to take this d4 and we're just going to give it a plop. We're going to knave number 3. So king is going to be the one that gets rid of a ration, right? So we're going to break up our ration. I mean, that's a lot for a bird. So actually, let's go. Now, this is not really part of the rules. 1/2. Okay, we've got a half ration. We're going to spare half of our ration to feed the bird. So this is a yes and. So that means that something should also kind of happen, right? I think we're gonna ignore the and part of that for right now. We'll just know that king are very, very eccentric, just knave here has offered the bird some food. I should mention as well, this art, by the way, is made by Evelyn Moreau. She's got a Patreon that is like $1 a month, I think, and you get a bunch of this art that you can use commercially or personally for whatever you want. It's a really, really good deal. You should definitely check her out if you're into creating, anything. So the bird is fed, which means that it'll change its shape as it's eating until it resembles a small, wicked-looking, six-legged, three-eyed, winged goat. Well, that's kind of horrifying. It'll speak to them in a high-pitched, squeaky voice. Okay, so what's the scene? Right now, we're of course standing in a field, right, with a path leading up to this house, and there's this bird that we fed, and all of a sudden it's changed into this weird goat thing. And So I'm not going to role play the interaction of the characters talking here, but what it tells us is exactly here, right? Like the house was made with lumber from a shadowy grove that used to stand in this spot. Two women live there. One is a witch and the other is a huntswoman. They're immortal and have lots of trinkets, and travelers do not leave this field once they enter it. Okay, so we're stuck here, right? So do we trust what this strange mutant bird is saying? No. And we're going to just, should we turn around or should we attack it? Let's find out. 1 to 3 is we turn around and we try and leave, see what happens. 4, 5, 6 will be that we attack it, right? 3. Okay, so we're just going to turn around. Our 4 characters, you know, look at this weird goat thing and not really believing it, turn around and try to exit. So the way that I envision this is that like our characters, our 4 knaves, are walking towards the tree line. I imagine that this is kind of like in a forest, right? So that we've come out of a forest into this clearing, and um, we're walking back towards the house, and or sorry, we're walking back towards the tree line from the courtyard. And as we get to it, we step into the woods, and on the second step, it's like this weird disorienting, shove, and we're back looking the other way, um, back at the house. I wonder if I can. Let's try. Okay, so let's try and make a. Oh no, I can't draw. That's what. Oh, that's stupid. Okay, well, you know what? I gave it a try, and that's what matters, right? Um, okay, so we've tried to leave. It's telling the truth. We can't leave. So we can assume that it is probably telling the truth about everything else, right? That there are 2 people who live here, that they are immortal, and yeah. Let's maybe just jot that down, right? No, that's not great. So witch and a huntswoman. Jeez Louise. Um, Lots of trinkets. Can't leave. Can't leave. Um, yeah, I don't know that the lumber and so forth is important. We're not going to write that down. The trinkets, I mean, they're immortal. Um, okay, so that could be important. Um, can this go up any? No. Okay. All right. Well, let's pop to the next page and let's just see what happens here. So, arriving at the house, we see a strange sight. The structure appears to be on the verge of falling over. It sways at the slightest of breezes. The entirety of the thing smells like an old, wet basement, and each floor seems to be an afterthought, as though they were built and then haphazardly stacked on top of each other. Okay, that's cool, right? That's like getting back to this art, right? So we've got this kind of strangely built house. Um, we're at the front door, so we've gone up the trail. We've seen this house. It kind of smells strange. And there's a boar's head that is stuffed and mounted between the doors. Grunts and squeals as the PCs approach, but makes no further action. If they reach for one of the doors, it'll give them a warning. One of these doors leads inside, the other leads to doom. Teach me a song and I'll tell you the truth. One of these doors leads inside and the other leads to doom. Okay, we can assume that our characters try and reach for the door, right? Because that just makes sense. So we would have definitely heard that. Teach me a song and I'll tell you the truth. So, did that save? Sometimes this is stupid. Yeah, okay, it did. Excellent. Okay. All right, so I think what we'll do is we will go ahead and just ask another oracle question of, do we sing this song? We're effectively going to just use a no or yes, right? We're not going to use the buts here. So, do we sing a song? No. All right. So we're going to skip that. The door to the left will set you free, it says, if we had sung the song. Okay, now that's ambiguous language. Door to the left will set you free. Mirrored image of the PCs. All right, so we decided not to sing, right? Our rogues are like, nah, F that, man. We're not doing that. We're not singing for some weird boar's head. We're not entirely sure that this isn't just a, drug-addled hallucination. So we're just going to randomly choose which door we go through. And once again, that's going to be just a 50-50, right? So is there... Yeah, I mean, we're just going to use 1 to 3, 4, 5, 6 as no and yes, respectively, right? So we're going through the right door, right? Right, because my question was, do we go through the left door? And it was yes or no. So, so we go through the right door. So the door to the right leads into the house's kitchen. All manner of dried meat and foraged vegetables hang from the walls. We could easily collect 12 days' worth of rations here, but to do so would warrant a roll on the random encounter table. The kitchen has cabinets, a hearth, a worn ladder, a sleeping cat, and a red door in the back. Okay. Do we need... I mean, we've got lots of rations right now, right? So why don't we maybe make just a note that that the kitchen 12 days rations unpicked, right? So we didn't pick that up, and that way, if we need to, we can always track back here, right? A hearth, a worn ladder, a sleeping cat, a worn ladder. I wonder if that ladder goes anywhere. Let's take a look at the next page here. So, okay, yeah, I guess I didn't really think about searching this, but okay, so the cabinets have odds and ends in them. We could find a knife that is a dagger and a silver chalice. So I'm gonna guess it does make sense that these guys are gonna be searching through the stuff in this kitchen. Do we find the silver chalice? I think that landed on a 5 again, right? Okay, yeah, it did actually roll there before. Okay. 15 GP. Now, with Knave, it is there's no gold, silver, blah blah blah. It's just coin. It doesn't really have a spot for us to place that, hey? Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna move this just for a second here. Because I know at the very, very back here, oops, we have Yeah, strength, dex, charisma, notes, item slots. Okay. So it doesn't specifically tell us. All item prices of this denomination. Yeah, we don't have a spot to really write down our money. Okay, so let's just pull it as a group, right? So we're just going to convert, we're going to straight convert gold into coin, and we're just going to see how that goes. So we've got, actually, you know what? Let's do, oh, whoops. Can't I? Nope, that's not what I meant to press. Change color. We are everybody. Yeah, okay, there we go. All right, so what I'll do is in brown here, what we'll do is we'll actually switch this to coin. All right, so we've got 15 right now. Yeah, that does what we want. Okay, and we can just close this for now. So we've got 15. In the hearth, there are warm coals from the morning's cook fire. The cook pot with a portion of porridge is left in it. A golden ring lays in the ashes with a portion of porridge. All right, well, let's assume one of these guys is going to eat that porridge, right? Who's going to eat the porridge? Let's find out. Brick. Brick eats the porridge. That makes sense, right? Brick eats the porridge. Brick eats the porridge. We gain a ring worth 45 coin. So since Brick ate the porridge, it makes sense that Brick will find the ring. 45 coin. And coin slash treasure, let's call it. Ring. The worn ladder leads to a 2, garlic on it. The red door leads to area 9. So area 2 and area 9, so that's the back of the house and the top of the house, right? If we flip back here, right? So yeah, we've got the next floor, or the what I can assume to be some sort of larder, right? Now we don't necessarily know that, and see if it's followed around. Linger 1 to a place too long. Add 1 to any random encounter. If it's awakened, I mean, my dudes are like slamming through this house, right? So it would probably make sense that the cat is awakened. Is the cat awake? Let's Oracle roll this. No. And that's just the straight roll of no, right? So 2. Yeah, it's just straight up no. Well, that's interesting. I kind of didn't expect that. I guess we're gonna just leave it as we did not wake the cat somehow. It must be the fact that we're all burglars. So that leaves us with, do we go with the worn ladder or the red door, right? Worn ladder or red door. So what we're gonna do is, here, let's switch this up. This will be a contested roll. If the red one is higher, we go through the red door. Otherwise, we go up the ladder. Red door it is. Okay, so we're going to go to area 9, right? So we're going to try not to look at too much here as we flip through. There's the greenhouse, the bedroom. Oh, somebody. Attic. And the back porch. So we find our way to the back porch. And so from the kitchen, back porch, which is 9. This is where Jisui keeps the ale that she brews. Now, we don't know who this person is yet, so all we see is a bunch of barrels. Unique grains, strange herbs, PCs. If a PC decides to have a drink, roll on the table below. So, I mean, these are a bunch of knaves, right? And not only that, they're scoundrels, right? We've got burglars and charlatans and a smuggler. The chances that they're going to crack open these barrels and find them and see that there's, some sort of beer like or alcohol smelling liquid in them and not drink them feels really, really unlikely. So what we're going to do is each character is going to roll on one of these. So we need our d10s. That's d8, that's d4. That's a d10. Right? So our first one is a 2. Find the booze. So Blacktooth. Can't stop singing. Rick is going to have what happened to him? 4. What's that one? Cannot help but tell every person they see how much they love them. Tells everyone I love you. We all know that drunk, right? Not a very fun person. King. So let's find out what this. 8. Watches their legs grow twice as long, but only their legs. Only their legs. Yeah, that's fun. Okay, and then the last one, 5. Suffers one random limb, turning to stone. Oh man. Okay, so that's Spike. So Spike's gonna have a bad day. So random limb to stone. So we have 2 arms and 2 legs, right? Let's see. Um, so it's gonna be left arm, right arm, and then left leg, right leg as far as the D4, right? Okay, so that makes sense. So that's our D4 spread. And what we're going to do is we're just going to roll and find out which limb this happens to. That's a 3, so that's our left leg. So well, that's going to suck for them real bad. So let's just like mechanically that's not a hit point issue, right? But I would say that pretty dramatically slows our speed down, right? So that would drop us, let's say, by half, right? So our exploration is now 60, right? And our combat would be 20. So we're just gonna put half, right? Because we know what the standard values are. And oh man, yeah, all effects last for 1 hour. So 1 hour. But we don't know that, right? In character, our knave, takes a sip of this random, booze in this random barrel. And did they was it good? Was the booze good? What did it taste good at least? No. No but. Um or sorry, no and. No, it did not taste good. And uh in fact it made them maybe a little bit nauseous as well, right? It tasted really bad. It turned their leg to stone, and it made them want to vom a little. That makes sense. So Spike's in a bad way. King, um, 1 hour as well. Let's just type that out because I have everything caps locked. So yeah, that leaves us in a interesting place. Now there's nowhere else to go from the back porch, right? Because everything else that's the outside the back door. So let me take a quick look here. So I didn't see mention of a back door on that page. Let's jump to the back porch. Roll on the table below. Like, do we see a do we see a door? I don't think so, right? Like although it is a porch, right? And I guess it just makes sense that a porch has a door, right? Right? You wouldn't just, that's not a sunroom, it's a porch. Okay. So now we come to the next big issue is, do we go through the door or do we backtrack further into the house? And that actually may be a question that we get to next time. I'm looking at my recording time. It's sitting at about an hour here. I doubt anyone's going to want to go through a full hour of this. So if you made it this far, hey, congratulations and thank you. I really do appreciate it. Listening to me ramble like an idiot here and slowly play a game. So I think, yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to pause here, and we need to decide next time if we back door of porch into zone 10, right, area 10, or backtrack to the kitchen, which was zone 2, I think, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's the case. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. I think that's what we're going to do. Is what we're going to do is we're going to hit save, right? Yeah, we're going to save this. No, we don't want to. We don't want to load that at all. We want to save this. No. So Knave Solo 2. There we go. Yeah, I did some importing to get this all set up, which is why I had multiple saves dicking around with this. Anyway, that's gonna be it for tonight. I've rambled long enough. I think we've got a good start into this little adventure. So far, I'm really liking the vibe here. I would love to see how this actually plays out at a table, right, with multiple players, because I think that there's a lot of there's a lot of room here for the kind of antics that you get that you can only get with players. I think it's still very, very fun to solo. I'm really enjoying this. But I would really like to see the chaos that would happen if I put this in front of my D&D group, which maybe I will. I think that they would probably get a blast out of this, and um, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. So if you do end up running this, I'm gonna have a couple more episodes of this because I want to get all the way through it. But if you do end up running this with people, let me know how it goes. I would love to hear about it. I'd love to hear about the things that they um, pick up on that kind of takes us off script, right? Whether or not they like mess with the cat and stuff like that, or if they take a cask of beer, right? Like, I mean, there's so many things that players can do. It's very, very chaotic. Anyway, I've been trying to log off here for 5 minutes, so that's going to be it for me. Thank you very much. We'll see you again shortly. Until next time, folks. Happy gaming.